Hello and welcome to the GrapeSEED Official Podcast. We are back for another GrapeSEED Greatest Hits, number 4 in this series, and our guest is Marina. Welcome back to the show, Marina.
Yeah, hi. I'm glad to be back. So thank you for having me here again.
If you haven't heard Marina before, she was on a 10 Things episode in episode number 56, so definitely check that one out if you haven't heard it yet. So just like always, we'll talk about 3 GrapeSEED materials here, talking about learning objectives, things in the lesson plan, specific stories of some of our more popular and more famous materials. Just like always, the guest chooses 2 and I choose 1. So we'll start with your picks. Number 1 here is Unit 6's Jam Jam. Interesting choice.
Yeah. I've read not so long ago in one of the books about making great presentations that it's easy to catch people's attention if you talk about food. Yeah, so probably it goes deep to our humans' history when we had to think about food to survive. And I actually saw this interest to the topic through the whole of Unit 6 and also Unit 5, which is about fruits and vegetables, right?
Mm-hmm.
So children loved to listen to the stories about food and to share their preferences. And the story Jam Jam gives them the chance, the language, to share with their friends, with their peers, and the teacher also about their likes and dislikes in meals. So as for our Russian kids, they were shocked by praise, I like butter on my popcorn. We never eat popcorn with butter in Russia.
Okay.
So how about you, Adam? Are you actually eating like popcorn with butter?
Well, I know when you go to the movie theater, it's supposed to be called butter, but it's really just some kind of oil, right, that they put on, but it kind of has a buttery taste. I think recently in America, like flavored popcorn has become pretty famous with like caramel, chocolate, cheese, that kind of stuff. What do you guys do in Russia?
Yeah, we prefer with caramel or with salt.
Okay.
Children are choosing this or that variant. It's usually like this, or just with like sugar. And actually, this is a good chance to discuss this topic, like cultural differences in food, right? So I know teachers who did this, but just remember that you should prepare. So if you, as a teacher, want to say a few words about cultural differences in food, and you want your students to somehow keep this conversation, to be in it, then you should think about the vocabulary they have, of course. Because I remember that my students missed the word porridge.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because most of Russian children have porridge for breakfast.
Okay.
And besides, they could not understand, for example, what lettuce is. Because cabbage is popular in Russia, while lettuce is not. And so I had to bring once to the classroom, like the real lettuce, to let them see it,
Interesting. A whole take on this material I've never thought of before.
Yeah, and I think probably other countries can also share some interesting facts about food and about those differences, and about their kids being shocked about something, because that's not normal for them, that's a usual thing in their families, in their countries. And it's interesting.
And you can do that so easily with Unit 6's Jam Jam, because if we're looking at the language and the material itself, it's not very complicated. This is all expressions and vocabulary students have had going all the way back to Unit 1 with "Do you like red?" Yes, I do, right? Like learning how to talk about their own likes. So even when we're looking at the quick checks for this material, we're not noticing the same type of quick checks that we see with most stories, where usually it's trying to build comprehension and see if students understand the content of the story before trying to transfer the language to students using that language on their own by the end of the unit. With a material like this, where it's almost like a review material as far as the language, we can start from unit from that first exposure, really talking, getting kids using that language, showing them how we can not only talk about what we like, but specific. So what do you like on your bread? What do you like with your rice? And students will be able to pick that up really quickly and run with it and start talking about themselves very early on in the unit compared to what you would expect from an average story.
Yes, that's right. Besides, with this story, we get back to prepositions. So
exactly.
if you are on Unit 1 with your students now, as you're listening to this, so you may think, oh, my students are still mixing up prepositions sometimes. Just cheer up. In each unit, you'll have chances to work on prepositions with the students. And here in Unit 6, with this very story, your children will practice prepositions with great enthusiasm. Just believe me. They will practice even to make jokes with those prepositions, right? So just give them a chance. I remember my students saying something like, I like ham in my ice cream. Or I like jam on my pizza.
Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. I'm sad to say goodbye. It was a good day, but now I will say goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.